Hey guys, how y'all doing, and welcome back to the channel. My name's David and I repair RVs for a living, and today's project is a tankless water heater in desperate need of decalcification. Let's get started. Now all the parts that I'm going to need to flush this tankless water heater are a container to pour some vinegar into. I'm going to try this with about 3 gallons of vinegar. I've got some metal braided hoses here to hook up to the water heater. We're going to need 12 volts to power this water pump over here, so I've got some piercing probes here to tap into the existing 12 volts that is currently being used to power the water heater. And then I've got some banana clips too. Yeah, basically this is everything I'm going to be using right here. I'll have links to most, if not all, of this stuff down in the description. Before you start this project, you want to shut off the water going into the RV, because we are going to disconnect the cold water hose that goes into the water heater, and you know, obviously that would spray water everywhere if you didn't shut off the water first. Also, you do want to turn off this power switch on your water heater, otherwise it will try to ignite while you're flushing the water heater. So make sure that's in the off position, make sure the water is off, and then you should be good to go. In order to get to the tankless water heater, I had to take a cover off down here, and both of these ventilation hoses were basically blocking the water heater. I was not able to get to it, so I disconnected one of those lines from the furnace over here, and I pulled it, out. I think I've got it out far enough to where I can actually work in there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this cold water line going into the water heater, and then this hot water line leaving the water heater. These hoses that are being used right now, they are not quite long enough to reach my vinegar bucket, so I'm going to take those off and replace them with longer hoses. So over here I've got the 12 volt wires that are currently feeding the water heater. I'm going to tap into these 2 wires here to power my water pump. This water pump flows in one direction. You see we've got an arrow on here, so I want my vinegar solution coming in from my container into this side of the water pump, and then it will flow out of this water pump, this side of the water pump, into the cold hookup on the water heater, and then from the hot side of the water heater it will flow back into the container, and it will basically just flow in a loop. And I am going to let that run for about 45 minutes. Alright, so you can see how these things work here. You just open this bottom side up, and then you just pull this lever in, and you can see that probe goes in and out. So you just basically, you get that around your wire, let go of that, and then take this bottom part and twist it all the way in, and that will give you a nice tight connection. Now I did the negative off camera. Let me just show you the positive real quick, in case you didn't catch that. So I'm going to pull this lever back here, notch it in there, and just take this bottom part and turn it. Okay, now we're clamped in. We got the positive there, and then we've got the negative down here. Let me show you what we do next. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use an electrical meter to make sure that my 12 volts are there. So let's set this thing up. I've got some banana plugs here. There's my negative. This is what they look like. I got a positive here. Now I've got my meter set on volts. There we go. So let's hook the meter in there and confirm that I have 12 volts. Now you will need banana plugs for this too. I'm just going to plug straight in here. I got my positive here. That's how that looks. Now let's get the negative in there. These just plug right in, real easy. There we go. Now we can take a look at the meter, and it says we've got 13.19 volts. Now I know I've got 12 volts, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these probes here, and I'm going to plug them in here, And then I'm going to hook these alligator clips up to the water pump to get that water pump going. I just strap both of the hoses together to make sure they stay in there. I'm just going to keep this lid closed down on it. Now we let this run for 45 minutes. So now I have run vinegar through this for 45 minutes. I just took the container outside. I got rid of the vinegar, and now I've got water in here. What I want to do is I just want to run some water through this water pump and through the water heater just for 1 or 2 minutes, just clean the vinegar out of the lines. All right, guys. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.